1 week later, your life had transformed. What once seemed like an endless struggle had now become peaceful. You were surrounded by people who cared for you, who took care of everything. You no longer had to worry about food, about being alone, or about survival. The Park family made sure your needs were met, and more than that, they made you feel like you truly belonged. For the first time in a long while, your days were normal. This morning, you rushed to get ready, your mind already focused on the day's task. You was getting better at balancing everything, but the feelings of being pampered still felt new. Haejun, your new mother figure, watched you with a warm smile as you hurried grabbed your bag. Haejun, hurry up while you were getting to be late again. She called gently from the doorway. Well, I'm just heading to the library, Mom, you replied, almost running down the stairs. I need to collect some books. Haejun sighed and walked over to you. Haejun, you should eat something before you go, at least have breakfast. You shook your head slightly, trying to be quick. Fine, I will be late if I sit down to eat. Haejun, you won't be late. The maid will bring breakfast right up, she insisted. Before you could protest, a maid entered the room, holding a tray of freshly prepared food. You had no choice but to sit down as Haejun carefully placed a spoonful of food in front of your mouth. Haejun, come on, eat, she urged kindly. You have been skipping meals to rush through your day. You need your strength. You glanced up, your eyes meeting Haejun's. You noticed slightly and took a bite. At that moment, Mrs. Park walked in, her presence filling the room. Mrs. Park whined, she said firmly, where are you off to? You quickly swallowed your food before responding. Why, I'm going to the library, Grandma. I have some books to collect. Mrs. Park's expression turned serious, her protective instincts kicking in. Mrs. Park, take the driver with you. Don't go alone. We have been enemies. Why nodded. Okay, Grandma, I will. Haejun smiled sweetly. Here, this is the last time. I hope you know that. You didn't say anything more, but simply took a deep breath. You took a small sip of water, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over you. After a few moments, you stood up and ready to leave. Mrs. Park, take care, dear, she said softly, her eyes filled with affection as she watched you head out. You paused at the door, then looked back at the family you had become to cherish. You had everything now, everything you could ever wanted, but there was still something lingering feeling you could not shake. As you step outside, you feel the warmth of the sun on your face and the cool breeze in your hair. The driver was already waiting by the door, ready to take you wherever you needed to go. Driver, shall we go, miss? He asked politely, his voice calm and steady. You nodded without saying much, your mind still processing everything that had happened earlier. You recognized the formality in his tone, and something about the situation felt distant, almost awkward. Step into the car and sit down, settling into the soft leather seat. The driver started the engine, the sound of the car humming to life. You could not help but notice how often he was glancing at his phone. His fingers moved quickly over the screen, typing messages and sending voice notes. You found yourself feeling a little uneasy at the sight, but you didn't say anything. There was no reason to. As the car sped through the streets, you absent-mindedly stared out of the window. The city car passed by in a blur, but you could see the driver's eyes freaking to the rear-view mirror, looking at you almost constantly. You caught glimpses of his reflection, but you didn't acknowledge it. Eventually, the car came to a stop and evening, coming back to your senses. When I'm going to be back 2 hours, wait for me, you told him as you opened the door. Driver, all right, miss, the driver responded without hesitation. You stepped out of the car and made your way toward the library entrance. You stayed early, but there were already a number of people inside. You scanned the room for a seat, but the place seemed to be crowded with students and book lovers. Where should I sit? You walked around, glancing at each table, hoping for an empty spot, but every table was full. Suddenly, you heard your name being called. Why? You turned and saw Haejun looking at you from a table near the back. He had a welcoming smile on his face, and his eyes sparkled with friendly recognition. Haejun, come here, he said, gesturing to the empty seat next to him. Your face brightened a little. You was glad to see a familiar face, especially in a place that felt so foreign. You walked over and took a seat beside him. Well, thanks, you said, offering a small smile. Haejun, don't mention it. He replied casually. It's rare to find an empty seat around here, but this one's just for you. Settled in, taking a deep breath as you got comfortable. You placed your books on the table, your fingers grazing the edge of the pages. When, why are you here? You asked curious. Did you come for some books too? He just smiled. I'm actually here for the same reason. These books. He gestures to the pile of books in front of him. Are what I need. I just got them. I took a glance at the titles. She recognized most of them. Why, those are the same books I was looking for, you remarked. He's lucky for you. I have already gathered everything. You don't need to waste time looking for them, he said with a grin. You can read them with me. You felt a small wave of relief. It was nice to have someone so helpful. Why, thanks, you said, grateful that you would not have to spend more time searching. As you both settled into the reading, a maid entered the library carrying a tray, approached Haejun and offered him a packet of juice. Haejun held it out to you with a smile. Haejun, would you like some juice? He hesitated for a moment. He wasn't sure if it would be awkward to refuse, especially since he had offered it so kindly, and it wasn't like he wasn't thirsty. Why, thank you, he said, taking the packet from him and sipping it slowly. You felt Haejun's gaze on you as you drank, and you could not help but feel a little awkward. It wasn't the first time you had noticed how into he was to you, but he said nothing, and you didn't want to make the situation uncomfortable, so you quietly finished your juice. Just as he was about to set the empty packet down, your phone rang. He glanced on his screen, noticing an unfamiliar number. Well, hello, you answered. There was a pause before the voice on the other end spoke. Is this Jill? Well, I think you have dialed the wrong number. Oh, sorry, I think I have called the wrong number. The voice on the other end apologized, and the call ended. You hung up, shaking your head at the mix-up. It's nothing, you thought. But as you glanced at the clock, you recognized time had slipped away faster than you expected. When it's getting late, you said, looking up at Haejun. I need to head home. I have some work to do. Haejun, already? It's feel like you just got here, he said, slightly surprised. Fine, I know, but I really have to go. You stood up, gathering your things. Haejun nodded, standing up with you. Haejun, alright, take care then, he said, his voice softer than usual. I hope to see you again soon. I smiled. I will see you later. With that, he walked toward the exit, your footsteps echoing through the library. As you step outside, you feel the cool air brush against your skin. The driver is still waiting in the car, just as you had left him. You walked toward him and gave a small, polite smile. Why, thank you for waiting. The driver slightly bowed his head. Driver, it's my duty, miss. He opened the car door for you. You quietly stepped inside and settled into the seat. Moments later, the driver closed the door and got behind the wheel. The engine started and the car smoothly pulled away from the library. For a while, the ride was quiet. You leaned your head slightly against the seat and looked outside at the passing streets. The afternoon sun reflected off the buildings as the city moved around them. Then suddenly crash, a loud explosive sound shattered the silence. The side window glass burst apart. You jumped in shock. "Driver, get down," he shouted urgently. Without thinking, you quickly bent down and crouched low in your seat. The sound of engines roared around you. Multiple cars seemed to be chasing the car. Your heart began pounding violently. Then bang, bang, bang. Gunshots echoed in the air. Your entire body trembled in fear. The driver spun the steering wheel sharply, turning the car at high speed as he tried to escape. "What? Who are they?" you cried out, your voice shaking. "Why are they shooting at us?" The driver gritted his teeth, focusing on the road. "Driver, I don't know, miss, but we need to get out of here first." The car raced through the streets at terrifying speed. You tried to grip the seat, your knuckles turning white. Your entire body shook as more gunshots echoed behind the car. The driver pushed the accelerator harder. After several endless minutes, the sound of the pursuing cars slowly faded away. Finally, the car slowed down. The driver stopped in front of a large iron gate. You slowly lifted your head. The massive gates of Park Mansion stood in front of you. "Driver, we're safe now," he said quietly. "This is Park Mansion." You slowly sat up, still shaking. The driver opened the door for you. Your legs felt weak as you stepped out of the car. You hurried inside the mansion. The moment you entered the living room, Haejun rushed toward you and pulled you into a tight embrace. "Haejun, thank God," she cried out. "You're safe. Nothing happened to you." Min-sung and Mrs. Park were also standing nearby, their faces tense with worry. Min-sung stepped closer immediately. "Min-sung, are you alright, princess?" he asked anxiously. "You were not hurt anywhere, right?" Mrs. Park turned toward the maids. "Mrs. Park, bring some water immediately." You shook your head softly. "Wine, I'm okay. Nothing happened to me." They guided you to the sofa. A maid quickly poured a glass of water and you slowly drank it, trying to calm yourself. Min-sung's expression hardened. "Min-sung, you can't go out alone like that anymore," he said firmly. "Our enemies are watching us from everywhere." Mrs. Park sighed deeply, looking at you with concern. "Mrs. Park, go to your room and rest there. Look at you. You are still trembling from fear." You nodded quietly and slowly walked upstairs toward your room. The moment you disappeared upstairs, the atmosphere in the living room changed. Min-sung's face darkened. "Min-sung, we need to do something immediately." Mrs. Park's voice turned cold. "Mrs. Park, if anything happens to Wine, everything will be over." She looked straight at Min-sung. "None of our plans will work without her." Haejun crossed her arms, slowly feeding her eyes. "Haejun, who did this?" Min-sung clenched his jaw. "Min-sung, I have already sent people to find out. We will know soon enough." He paused before continuing. "But one thing is certain," his voice turned serious. "By tomorrow, we must hire a bodyguard for Wine." Meanwhile, the room was dimly lit, filled with a heavy silence. Taehyungff sat comfortably in a chair, his posture relaxed but his eyes sharp and calculating. A glass of whiskey rested in his hand as he slowly swallowed it, amber liquid. The door suddenly opened. A man stepped inside and stopped respectfully a few feet away. "Boss, the job is done." Taehyungff lifted his face, a faint smile appeared on his lips. "Good job." His voice was calm, but there was something dangerous hidden beneath it. "And the rest?" "Tom, step forward, Tom. Everything is ready. Park Mason has got people tomorrow to hire a bodyguard." Taehyung leaned back in his chair, clearly pleased. "Taehyung, great." He let out a soft chuckle. "The game has only just begun." Tom nodded. I will make sure everything is prepared. Taehyung stood up slowly and walked toward the window, looking out at the dark city below. Taehyung, make sure everything is ready, he said quietly. Tomorrow morning I am going to the park mansion myself. Tom, all right, boss, Tom replied. After giving a respectful nod, Tom left the room. The door closed. Silence returned. Taehyung's lips slowly curved into a crooked smile. His smile filled with danger and anticipation. He whispered softly to himself, So we will meet tomorrow. His dark eyes gleamed. Miss Park YN.